Everyone has physical insecurities. Even the most gorgeous, beautiful people have things that they don't like about themselves. And we're often told that the way that we should deal with this is to learn to love the way that we look. And although I agree that this is the ideal approach, I don't think that it's 100% realistic. I honestly think that it almost leans towards toxic positivity because it sends the message that loving ourselves is binary and it's the only way to deal with physical insecurities. Although you should definitely strive and do the inner work to love yourself, I think that most of us land somewhere on the spectrum between absolutely not liking the way we look at all and absolutely loving the way we look. So the approach that I want to share is what I've personally done in my life, and that's managing my physical insecurities through a combination of self-acceptance and love, and also altering my physical appearance with the minimum effective dose. So the minimum effective dose is something that Tim Ferriss talks about in his book, The 4-Hour Body, and it's the smallest dose that will produce the desired outcome. So for example, if your goal is to lose weight, then instead of introducing a brand new diet or completely restricting your calories by half, you can simply nail down what is the smallest, easiest change to your current lifestyle that's going to result in the weight loss. And after hearing about this concept, I realized that in a way, this is actually how I've dealt with my physical insecurities. The biggest insecurity I had growing up were the moles on my face. I had quite a few, and they weren't small, cute little freckles that just blended into the rest of my skin. They were quite big and noticeable, and it was the first thing I saw when I would look into the mirror. As you can see, I don't have them anymore, and that's because in my mid-20s, I had them removed. My mom got some ointment from China that was apparently for this sort of thing. You basically just put it on your moles and it burns your skin. It then turns into a scab, and when it falls off, the scab goes with it. But when they scabbed up, they got even darker and more noticeable, and insecure and impatient young Julia prematurely picked some of them off, so it actually resulted in some scarring. I am not recommending that you remove your moles in this very sus way that I did. I am just sharing what happened with me. Am I happy that I did that? Hell yeah. For me, that was my minimum effective dose. It was the smallest change that I could make to my appearance that would result in my desired outcome of higher self-confidence. Contrary to all the messaging around self-love and acceptance being the only way to enlightenment, I believe that there's nothing wrong with changing something about your appearance that will help you manage your physical insecurities. But I do think that the best way of doing this is through your minimum effective dose. And I can't tell you what your minimum effective dose is. No one can. That's for you to decide. But I want to share some principles and guidelines that I think will help you figure it out. The thing that you choose to change should be something that makes you 80% happier with a 20% change. It should not be an 80% change with only a 20% increase in happiness. It has to be something you're changing because when you look in the mirror, you genuinely will feel happier. Not because someone is telling you that you should change it, not because you think that it'll get you more attention, and definitely not because you think it'll change the course of your life. Did I think that removing my moles would make me more beautiful? Yeah, I definitely did. But did I think that this incremental increase in beauty would mean that I would get more dates with men and that I would end up with someone that I wouldn't have if I had my moles? No, definitely not. So don't go in thinking that whatever you choose to change is going to solve all your problems. If that's what you think, you can definitely benefit from doing some deeper self-love work to even be in the right mindset to figure out what your minimum effective dose is. If there is a way you can achieve what you want naturally, try that first. If you want a bigger, nicer butt, go work out. If you want a lifted face, try some gua sha and some face yoga. With my moles, I could have definitely just covered them up with makeup, but I am not a makeup person. I don't like wearing it, and when I do, I don't wear a lot of it. So realistically, that just wouldn't really fit into my lifestyle because I'm not usually wearing makeup. And ultimately, the change was for me to feel better when I look in the mirror and not just for me to cover up when I know that other people are going to see me. But if there is a way that you can naturally achieve the result you want, then just try that first. You literally lose nothing by at least just trying a natural approach first. And lastly, your minimum effective dose shouldn't be something with a ladder of progression. Tim Ferriss talks about how more is not better. Indeed, your greatest challenge will be resisting the temptation to do more. For example, let's say you want a boob job. Figure out what the best size is for you and then stop there. There shouldn't be a consistent desire to change it and improve it. Once you enter this ladder of progression, it becomes a really slippery slope. If the change you're thinking of is something that you know is going to leave you wanting more, then that's a sign that you're not pursuing the right change. Your minimum effective dose has to be something that you're changing for yourself, not because you're chasing how someone else looks or comparing yourself to others. And your minimum effective dose might be more invasive than removing moles. Your breast augmentation might be my removing moles, which might be someone else's Botox or someone else's nose job. I'm not here to judge what you decide your minimum effective dose is. It's going to be different for everyone because it's going to depend on what will genuinely make you happier with your appearance. But be careful of making a change for the wrong reasons. There was a time when I considered getting a boob job myself. I never liked my boobs. They're small, they hang low, they're far apart, and that's just what I was given. When I started wrestling, I gained the most muscle I've ever gained in my life, and with gaining that muscle, I also shed fat, and a lot of your boobs is fat. So now I had an even flatter chest than I had before, and because I was doing a lot of kind of powerlifting style of training, my arms also got super jacked and they were just huge, and I felt like I looked really masculine and not at all feminine. So I started looking into breast implants, and I remember telling my older brother that it was something I was considering for the future. And I'll never forget what he said to me. He said, if wrestling is making you consider getting implants, then maybe you shouldn't do wrestling. And that really got me thinking. I loved wrestling. It was the sport that brought out my true athletic potential, and naturally it was causing changes to my physical appearance. One of them I actually liked. My ass was the biggest and plumpest it had ever been through that style of training, but my chest was also the flattest it's ever been. But would getting a boob job actually make me 80% happier? No, it wouldn't. Although I was never a fan of my boobs, feeling that insecure about them was something new because they now looked different. But for me, a boob job would not be a 20% change. It would be a really expensive and invasive surgery that would only mildly improve my appearance, but also actually slow me down athletically. And I am much more into athletics than I am my appearance. So if I did this, would I genuinely be happier with myself? No, I wouldn't. So I decided not to do it. And with time and age, I learned to accept my natural boobs. I have not worn a underwire or push-up bra in almost a decade, and I love that I don't need to because I don't actually need the support. I can go braless, I can wear backless tops, and I'll never experience that back pain that some women do who do have big boobs. Do I love my boobs now? No, I don't. I still look in the mirror and push them up and together the way that Cameron Diaz does in Something About Mary. I still think they could be nicer, but I've accepted they are what they are, and there's benefits to being small-chested, and I have no real desire to change them anymore. Changing my boobs was not my minimum effective dose, and in fact, even though it was wrestling that highlighted that insecurity, choosing to overcome that insecurity and stick with wrestling actually gave me so much more confidence than any physical change could have. If you're interested in hearing more about building self-confidence through hobbies, a link to that video will be in the description. So before you go ahead and change something about yourself, just make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. It's okay to have physical insecurities. We all do. I mean, literally everyone. Brad Pitt was already aging like a fine wine, and even he just got a facelift. No one, no matter how beautiful, is 100% happy with the way that they look. And it's okay. You can love yourself and still not like certain things about your appearance. It's not binary. But do the inner self-love work. I am not saying don't do it. Please do it. Learn to love and accept as much as you can about yourself, but it's okay if you still have physical insecurities. Not all insecurities can be fixed or resolved, and it's more about managing them in a realistic way that genuinely makes you happier and doesn't leave you wanting more. I hope this video helped. Like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.